Hello, good evening, welcome to Easy 8's Online Painting Club. My name's Danny and this is the quintessential place for you to be if you want to paint your miniatures live with some company here online. You can join the guys over here in the live chat. We've got Kes, we've got Jeff, we've got Adrian, we've got Steph. Hi guys, thanks for coming along, nice to see your names in the live chat again. It's been an interesting week for me. My season at work has come to an end. I'm still employed, I still continue working, but there's no more guests. I work at a residential centre. There's activity centre, which is residential. There are no more guests there until next year, so my duties have all changed. I've been out in the freezing cold rain all day with a pressure washer, and so here is a nice adult juice to say cheers to the weekend. Cheers to all of you, and welcome to the weekend. Here we go. Yeah, that's not strong. It is. I don't normally dedicate my shows, but sometimes I do, and today is one of those days. For the last 3 years, I've worked alongside a young lady called Maddie, who has been one of the best colleagues that I've ever got to work with. And today was her final day. She left to say goodbye, turned her back on me and the whole business for a long time. She doesn't really watch Easy 8. She knows it exists, but it's not really for her, and that's fine. But for some reason, I feel compelled to dedicate tonight's show to her. Thanks, mate. All the best. I hope you have a wonderful time moving to the south of France. After your travels across Japan and Europe and wherever else it is that you're going, I wish you all the best. And here's to your future. Hopefully see you soon. Take care and cheers. If I keep going like that, I'm going to be drunk before the interval. Anyway, welcome to tonight's show. If you're painting something this evening, please do tell me about it. I would love to know, genuinely am interested in knowing what it is that you're painting. You can talk about it here in the live chat. It's on that side on my screen. You can talk about it in the live chat over there. If you want, you can talk about it in the comment section just downstairs, down there if you want to. If you're watching it on the replay, perhaps. If you want to talk about it over on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Discord, all of those places. You can drop photos as well if you want to. I'd love to see what it is that you're working on, so come and show and tell. That'd be fantastic. And yeah, cool. So I've been working on some 50mm tank tracks last week. Haven't really had an awful lot of time this week in and around lots of other things going on at work, but I've had a little chance to kind of test with some different colours and different schemes and things, and I've decided to throw them all out of the window because that's how I paint. We all know that now. And yeah, I'm just going to keep it really simple because there's so little difference between all of the different things that I've been doing. I'm just quite keen to just do a simple thing and just move on, frankly. And more about that in just a second. If you like what we do here at Easy 8, please do subscribe. Such a small gesture from your end is such a treasured and cherished. That's a really difficult thing to say when you stammer. No, I can't do it. I like it. If you would subscribe, that would be grand. Thank you very much. Spread the word. Tell a friend. Tell someone in the street, go to work, put up a poster, get the word of Easy 8 out there and get them to subscribe. Push the little bell icon so you don't miss a trick, so that you're always alerted to when I actually get things wrong, like I did 2 minutes ago and I pushed the wrong show and I had to go into this one. The bell icon will make sure that you're always being alerted to what it is that I'm doing and you can correct me. That would be great. And don't forget to thumbs up if you like the video, because that does... I think that does something for the algorithm, and I don't pretend to know how that works, but if the algorithm works for me, and you push the little thumbs up button, that'd be brilliant. Thanks very much. Cool. So we got Adrian in the live chat. I haven't seen you for a while, Adrian. I hope you're doing well, mate. We've got Kez, hi all, Jeff, oi. Aloha community. Are we in Hawaii? Cool. Yeah, why not? It is very cold here in the loft today, so I could do with a little bit of the Pacific sun would be lovely. Kez says I'm cleaning up some battle mechs ready for undercoating. Oh, that's very exciting. Do it, says Staff. Season 4, the one where Danny got drunk. Maybe for a special? Jeff says 26 more trees to go and it's off to Oz. Ooh, what a big order to go to Australia. And then I can move on with other builds. Lots to do. Yeah, always something on the workbench. Always. And that's why we have the show, right? Anyway, enough from me rambling on. Let's head on over to the workbench. I love it when the music times out so well. Here we go. Yeah, do you know what? I'm actually really into this drink today. It might be that season. Who knows? So, what can we see here on the table? 4 different versions of exactly the same thing. Some slight differences between them, as you can see, but not an awful lot. This one over here, pretty dark. These two here, very similar. This one a little bit different. And that just goes to show you how very insignificant the choices that I was making are. And I'm okay with that. One of my biggest bugbears, one of my biggest things, is that I get bogged down making choices, or trying to make choices. I have come to realise some time ago that this is ADHD. This is decision paralysis. This is when I've got so many things in front of me, the choices, options, whatever. I go, it's like going to the supermarket and seeing one packet of crisps in one flavour and going, I'll have those. Or 26 and going, oh, I would like one, but I don't know which one to choose. And you stand there for an hour and then walk out with nothing. So, what have I got? This is the first one that I did. I know this is the first one I did because it's been dry brushed lightly. It needs more dry brushing, more highlighting. But this is pretty much where I'm going to go with it, I think. I believe this one came next. And this one was afterwards. These two have gone through the same sort of process. This one here had... it was primed black. And then, interestingly, I used grey primer. On last week's show, you can go back and see that. And then I used a grey paint over the top of that. Yeah, I know, stay with me. And then I did a basilicanum grey wash. That works really well. Gonna stay with that. And then I started doing some dry brush highlights. I did the same over here, but I hadn't got to the dry brushing stage yet. Now that one is slightly warped, so I might leave that one and then try and maybe heat it up or something to flatten it out, because he's got a little bit of rock on him. And I'm not too keen on that. It's the only one that's like it, as far as I can tell. This one here was done with, I think, just a heavier wash. If I was to dry brush that one, it would come out like this. That's fine. So those two are probably okay. This one, let's forget about that one. This one here was done with a different grey, because I don't want all of my greys to be the same grey. I've got a lot of greys across all of my builds, my Tyrannus being one of the biggest examples of it. There's a lot of grey on their carapaces, and I use 3 different greys. They work really well. That's a good recipe. But I don't want that same grey recipe being used on everything that is grey. So I gave Storm Vermin Fur a go. This is a slightly brownish, dirty looking grey, if you will. I really like it. It feels a bit weird saying that I really like greys, but they're actually quite exciting colours. And then, so yeah, I thinned it down and put it through the airbrush, got a lovely coat out of it. And then I did a Nuln oil wash over the top. Now, Nuln oil, itchy ear, Nuln oil works much better nowadays, and I'm much more on board with it. But the difference, it's negligible. Maybe if I'd done a basilicanum grey wash over the top, it might be different. But for the differences in the greys, the grey is not... At the base level, it's not a dominating colour. It's all about the dry brush enhancing that grey, and frankly, it's not going to work. So, because I've got several feet of this stuff to do, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 sections, plus platforms and stairs. Let's just keep it simple, yeah? So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to redo this one. I'm going to try and keep it quick. These two can be moved to a side for a minute. These can go to my done pile, perhaps waiting dry brushing. And obviously I want to keep the show moving, so I'm not going to sit here and just do the same as what I did last week at all. I'm going to do a few to kind of give me something to work with, do some staining. Don't tell the other half, but pinch the hairdryer. Shh. And yeah, so I should be able to dry up the washes. And then on to dry brushing. Now, also, Jeff in the live chat is my dad. Hi, Jeff. Hi, Dad. Feels a bit weird saying hi, Jeff. Bought me some brushes because I don't really have many decent dry brushes. And I don't have the really nice set from Artis Opus because they're very, very expensive. However, he bought me some brushes. These are... Why am I showing you up there? What a plonker. Crawford and Black, cheap but good honest brushes. They are flat. I quite like flat brushes. They are soft, but they have a little bit of rigidity to them, so good for dry brushing. I can use them flat on or edge on or anywhere in between to kind of get what I want out of it, and these should be very, very useful. Thanks very much, I really appreciate that. I was really poorly earlier on in the week and he popped them through the letterbox, so yeah, I'm much better. While we're on the subject, I had forgotten, last week I was really poorly and I watched the replay back and my energies were so low. They're so unprofessional. I know I'm not professional, but you know, it should be good, and I'm sorry about that. Thanks for being patient, and thanks for sticking around. Those of you that did, because I lost 3 subscribers after that show. Don't be ill and be a YouTuber, what can I say? Right, so let's pop the compressor on, because I'm going to need the airbrush. Now, hopefully, the airbrush is working. Yep, okay, there's some good movement in there. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to stick a little bit of cleaner in. I just put 1 drop in it before I start, because it just helps lubricate I think it helps lubricate the mechanism inside. Gets the old air flowing. Okay, cool. So, look, normally I would prime it black. I think black's a good primer to use. First and foremost, I've got about 3 times as much of this than I have the grey. So I'm going to use that. It's also then nice if I put a grey paint over the top, if it doesn't cover properly, black showing through as a bit of a shadow, because there's lots of gravel and stuff and I want there to be shadow recesses and grey highlights and things like that. I will do a dark wash over the top of it, which will be Basilicanum grey mixed 50-50 with water. So if the black shows through, it's not a problem. What I was doing last week was wasting twice as much time by doing a primer black and then a primer grey. Why was I doing that? You have to stop me making poor choices. It's what you're here for. Comments going in. Adrian says, I'm working on the Kazakin Kill Team box set. Do you know, I have not kept up with Games Workshop's releases enough to know that they are releasing more stuff for Kill Team and Necromunda than they are 40k at the moment. And I caught at the tail end of something a little while ago and looked at some of their releases for Necromunda. This stuff's looking really, the Necromunda Kill Team, the stuff's looking wicked. Am I under the impression that you could use the Kill Team boxes, do your little Kill Team unit, and then include them in your armies for 40k? Is that something that you could do? Crossing the 2 things over? Is that something that you could do? Adri says, the one using Stormseer Grey seems to have worked best. I don't think I used Stormseer Grey. I used Storm Vermin Fur. That's what you're talking about. This one here. It's just very, very dark. Maybe it's because I did a too heavy Nuln wash over the top. Instantly, it took flipping ages for that to dry, and it was stuck to the paper. I had to peel it off. So yeah, maybe a bad mixture of all of it. I had to mix this with thinners and flow improvers and things. It took a lot of time to do that. So for the amount of time, it could just be sticking some grey into the. Do you know what I mean? Like, keep it simple, stupid. So because I've got Stonewall Grey for the layer for the airbrush, I might as well just whack that through it. Because you'd remember when I first got my airbrush years and years ago, I thought I was using airbrush paints, I wasn't, and I was just struggling. So I was basically trying to force clay through my airbrush. So yeah, there you go. Stafford asks, there's always time for lubricant? Get me the ice cream, doesn't matter what flavour. Adrian says, you are quite correct with the use of kill teams in 40k. Oh, wicked. So that's really cool, because it means obviously you can get your little kill team in a box, job done, play 1 game, and then you can include it into a bigger army later on. I like that. I rate that. So, okay. Because it would be a little bit lighter if I hadn't had primed it, I'm going to quickly stick some primer over the top. And then I'm going to go all over the other ones, and then I'm going to prime them too. I'm just going to do like a few, so that then I can crack on with a good amount of stuff without having to keep on coming back to the old primer. So, okay. Bear with me while I rinse repeat. I'm just going to put my lights back in the right place. They were out of position because I was showcasing the other day my October build, which of course was my Gasgol Thracker. Do you know, I had such fun painting painting that guy over October. And the best thing about it was I pretty much kept to my time limit. I just got poorly at the end, and then there were a few work things in the way that stopped me from getting hit dead on, right? But I started a few days late into October, so that if I finished a few days late, I was actually pretty on time. And I did the big reveal. I haven't done it through this channel, although I will pin the video up here on Easy8's YouTube later, because I actually did a podcast with John from Out of This World Models and Minis. Shameless Out of This World Models and Minis plug. There's a link down there in the description. Please go check out John if you haven't already, because he's a really swell dude all the way over there in the States, and is an absolute staunch supporter of this show, as many of you are. So I support him back. And we decided to collaborate and do October together. So we did a podcast. He recorded it all and put it up on his channel. There is a link on the Facebook page if you haven't seen it. Go and check it out. It's my first podcast and it was just nice. I apologised to John afterwards because I'm fairly certain I kind of spoke over him the entire time and took over his podcast, but he was super good about that and was like, dude, you have a show where you talk a lot, I just do voiceovers. So it was just really nice to actually talk directly to the guy who's been supporting me for 2 years, because we actually haven't had a phone call yet, so it was really nice to have that chat. If you want to see my Gaz and see how I ruined him on the penultimate paintwork, and how I saved it, go and watch that podcast. And then a little bit later on, just for simplicity of Easy 8 viewers, I will share that video through YouTube. If I can, because I'm not entirely sure if I can do that. I think I can. Mike Turner's joined us. Hi Mike, how are you doing? Nice to see you again, mate. I noticed today on Facebook, or the other day I think, you said that you finally got your October models arrived in the post, ready for Orcvember. So keep us updated with photos of that. I'll be watching. You got little dinosaurs for your orcs. They're sick. You know, I'm not entirely sure, but actually Phoenix airbrushed out properly the other week and it's working like a dream, so shh, say no more. Adria says, if you do a lighter grey, try a brown wash. Yeah, I could do. I just think that for now, you know, the time for experiment is done. I've got to crack on. I want to get these done for Recon. Recon is an event in December, right at the beginning of December, December the 2nd, where I'm travelling all the way up to just beside Leeds, a little town called Pudsey. Where I have been invited to come along and have a stall and be a paint competition judge, and represent Easy 8 by Matt and his team from the Pit Gaming Store, who have now taken over the running and operation of that show. Thanks, Matt and the Pit team. That's really kind of you to invite me. I'm genuinely flattered and honoured, and I'm just trying to get a few things on display, really. So, yes, you're absolutely right. Like a dark brown or even a light brown wash would probably work. These are such good moulds as well. I'm really into them. They're absolutely fantastic. People who've seen them up close will testify that they are the bee's knees. This one's got a little bit of staining down the bottom just here because I was trying out Nuln Oil on something that was unprimed. Or was it primed? It was primed. Too late now. Just get on with it, Danny. Do you know what? I've come out of work today just feeling like so out of energy, and I come up here, turned the computer on, got everything running, and I was like, right, let's go. And my energy is here. So yeah, you're absolutely right. These colours, Adrian, would work, but don't get in the way. I can't get in the way of my own vibe, you know. If I'm painting with some sort of alacrity, I've never used that word before. Who is this guy painting with some sort of alacrity today? Keep the music flowing, you know. Alacrity. Well, there's a first for everything. Stop it. If you're new here to Easy 8, I don't always use words that big. Please subscribe. Now remember, if we get to 150 followers, subscribers even, before the end of November, I said that I would clean out my paint palette. I'll show you that later on, because there's some people that give me a really hard time about that lately. Don't clean your paint palette, it's reference. But if you want me to, you got to get me those subscribers, 150 by the end of November. And do you know what? I'm feeling pretty good, pretty nice. So I'm going to extend that till New Year's Eve. So if you can get me to 150 subscribers. When I say you got to go out there and share that word, man. 150 subscribers for the end of the year. I will do a video where I clean it. Now, if that wasn't a shameless plug to get subscribers, I don't know what is. Okay. This is coming on rather quick. This is a swift thing. Because I counted how many sleepers there were the other week. And I've forgotten how many it is, but it is It's a lot. It's like 350 odd sleepers, and it is the most depressing thing to paint in 28mm. This is 15mm. Jeff says, "Cool, big words." Gaz looks awesome. You did good. Thanks very much. I really appreciate that. From what we were talking about the other day, when we were talking about the October build, like the grime effect to keep him grim dark, really effective. But I think if I'd thinned it down 50%, I think it would have been a much more better finish. I think, yeah. And of course, that's where the problems started. But it was a really good experiment. That's what he was. I'm not an orc player. Maybe I should be. I would like to. I've only played one game of 40k in the new rules. You might be able to hear in the background the latest storm. It has not stopped. I can hear it through my maximum volume noise cancelling headphones. I know I'm in the roof, but that is crazy. To drive home from work last night, and it was like a tornado. My wiper's on full, like that. I still couldn't see very well. Be safe out there if you're in the UK, especially if you are near where I am. But you know what? Even if you're not near where I am, just be safe. Look after yourselves out there. God, going through this stuff today. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do one more, because that's all the double tracks that I've got paint all primed then, and the rest are all singles. So yeah. Okay, cool. Do you know what? Because nope, I'm going to leave it. Leave it. Shut up. Don't change your mind. You should be stopping me from making these stupid decisions. I go, oh, what? Do you know what? That'd be a good idea. It's like my brain locks in on a good idea, and then it just sneaks in a rubbish one just in afterwards. Like riding off the coattails of success of the previous decision. Yeah, we made a decision. Let's do this as well. Makes it rubbish. I've got a little bit of primer left in the airbrush and I don't want to waste it, so I'll just do this one here as well. I'm going to leave the one that I was going to redo. I was going to start them all again. That's the one that I started dry brushing. I'm going to leave that one. And I'll just quickly use up the black on this one. Just because I tried doing something different on it and it didn't look the same. So I'm just going to go back. Because they're all going to be linked together, side by side. Any variation in the in the different pieces will be really, really noticeable. So it's really important that I keep consistency at the heart of this project. Mike Turner says, I'm assembling some Gretchen commandos now. Gonna do one getting eaten by a dino. Photos already didn't happen, please. Thank you very much. Excellent. Right, let's pop you there. Pop that on top of the one that I've just painted. Yeah, why not? That's a good way of ruining everything, isn't it? I've now still got some left in there. Oh, for goodness sake. Okay, cool. There we go. Right, let's wash this out. primer out. Cheers. Maybe it's the vodka. Maybe it's the vodka that's making me do big words. I did try to keep that one a normal strength, but I just can't do it. I just can't do it. I refuse. Okay, good start, but don't get cocky because it's only black. That's all you've done, Danny. You've just made things black. So now that they're primed, now we need to make them grey. Let's get rid of the primer. Let's go to my Stonewall grey. Here it is. Before I do that, of course, it's Stafford's favourite part of the show. I've given him plenty of warning. He knows what he's got to do. I know there's a delay. He's got to type it. He's probably watching it on his laptop or his phone. You know, can I give him a second? I'm giving it a shake before it happens. Come on, Staff. You know what you got to do. I'm going to put it right over the top of the device. I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it. Is this going to be the show? I can't wait all the time, mate. Any second now. Wazomatic. John and I were talking about the Wazomatic. I can't remember if we were doing it in the podcast or like off the air. Such a rude sounding word, he says. But he loves it, and he wants me to get him some stickers with Easy 8 logo on them so he can put it on his Vortex mixer and have his own Wazomatic. And he wants to put googly eyes on it so that when he's got the paint mixing it goes Anyway, that's enough of that silliness. Now I don't really need to mix any kind of flow improvers into this colour. It's actually a pretty good one, and I'm just going to load the hopper up there because I've got a few track pieces to go over. Okay, start with that first one. Here we go. And that's why I'm doing it this way. That's why I'm not mixing my Storm Vermin grey or Storm Vermin fur or whatever. That's why I'm not using anything else. I'm not doing the primer. What was the point? Why was I doing that? You know what? In some ways, I've probably gone too much with the grey there. That's it. That's all I need to do. I'd like there to be a little bit of the black showing through in places, in blobs, and that's looking pretty good. There's a little bit of black showing through here. It gets a bit brighter grey over here. It's a little bit darker in some of the recesses, and it's uneven and random, and it's exactly what it should be. That's where I should have been. So, yay for me. Well done. Okay, move on to the second piece here. It's actually so cold in the studio tonight that is still drying, so it might be that in a minute I have to get the hairdryer out just to make them that little bit more drier. Don't know where I was going with that sentence. Very, very different from the other one. Just going to come back to that one there a minute. And just match it in a little. There we go. Right. Back to that one. Going to give him a bit of cold air from the airbrush. If it was in the summer, we all know that will be dry before I put it down. Nope, that's absolutely going to need the hairdryer treatment. Bear with me while I turn off the microphone. Yep, gonna need to be doing that quite a bit throughout the show, I think, but that's very effective. Thanks, love. Look how much more I've got done this week just by making a decision. I would have loved to have had the dirtier greys and the browns and the brown washes like Adrian was suggesting, but sometimes alacrity is best. Stop it. I suppose I could do the Basilicanum grey wash, which is designed to just kind of enhance the gravel look, so it runs into all the little creases, shows up the individual stones, applies a soft filter. Dry brushing picks out those details, but if I could do like an Agrax shade wash over in some places, kind of, you know, maybe tighten up a little bit, that might work well. That's a decision for later, I think. There's no need for me to make that decision right now. I do like to include the community decisions. Okay. This is really coming on. Okay, so I'm going to mute the microphone again. That's it, it's decided. I need to get my own my own hairdryer. It's that was almost still totally completely wet. And now it's not, yay. Where it really pays off to have those hairdryers is when you're using washes and glazes. And you need your layer to go down and be dry so you can play the next one, otherwise you've got to wait a really long time. going well. Still, you can see that it's still sopping wet. Pencil lead might work well on tops of the tracks. You would have to fix it though. Yes, that's a really good idea. Tops of the track should be extremely shiny. It comes from plenty of use. Yes, you're absolutely right. And I've done train tracks before. Jeff will remember this because I actually helped him paint 28mm train tracks. If you go back to Easy8 on Facebook, go back to last week's listing, Jeff actually included a whole load of photographs from that build, and it was really nostalgic to see them. There were some nightmares, but also a big celebration because it was a beautiful looking build. I didn't build it, that was totally up to Jeff. I just helped paint it because there was so much to do, and I got a steadier hand apparently. So I had to paint all the sleepers and all the rails, and the rails looked really, really good. And we did bright tops to them. We could use pencil, and I've used pencils before for like doing shiny steels and things. However, if you touch it, like you're saying, it comes off straight away, so you have to fix it. Now I do have fixes, I don't know if they work on lead. If you varnish over the top of them, it takes away any of the metallic feature whatsoever, and it just goes grey. So if that's going to be the case, you might as well use paints. Now I've got a selection of silvers here to use to do that, and I'm more than happy to try that. Sorry, excuse me, I did a burp because of the vodka and coke. But what would be nice to try is the pencil lead idea, knowing that if it doesn't work on one, I can literally get my finger and rub it all off and start again. So it's worth a go, isn't it? We'll give that a shot. Adrian says, I'm sure Mr. Corsi remembers father's model railway layout, Torrington in 4mm fine scale. If there are photos of that, I would love to see that. Please do put them up on Facebook. Right, back to the hairdryer. Let's see if I can get all of these sections greyed before the intermission. Anyway, here we go. It's as fun as watching paint dry. Stop it. Right. Kez, did you ever, because you were talking about Mech Warrior a minute ago, did you finish your 32 terrain boards? I would love to know if you have, and I would love to see some photos. I remember you talking about a little while ago getting very close to finishing them. I can't remember if you actually did finish them. Oh, just ran out of paint. Get a bit of fresh in there. Not as much this time because I haven't got so many to work through. Just a little bit. One more to go. Kezin says they are very close. Les has been unwell, so I've been unable to get them flocked. Hopefully we'll get them done Sunday. Oh, that's so close, isn't it? Looking forward to that. Let us know. Keep us updated. Last one to dry. There we go. Okay, let's get the grey on it. It's interesting looking at some of them. The way that they've dried is completely different to each other. Hopefully that is an effect that doesn't stay consistent as we go through the paint scheme, because otherwise they're going to look very different as we go through. Might just be that these ones need a couple more touch-ups perhaps. Being careful with the amount of paint that I put in now. Don't want to have too much, so just almost drop by drop at this stage. Every time I run out, just a drop more. Oops. Because it says then we'll put them all together and take some pics. That'd be great. Jeff says, Kez, did you sort your wonky building out? I've managed to get it cut in half and glued back together, working on filling in the gaps. Did it cut? This is just to fill everybody else in. This is a conversation that Kez and I were having outside of the show, where I was actually able to lend Kez a micro saw to cut a huge 3D printed building in half because there was a slight layer slip. And did it work? Did it work well? What did it go? Did you have to take your sweet time and then it come out all right, better than you hoped? Or was it hard work and you might as well just stuck it on a bandsaw or put it in the fire? There is one over here that's missing a little bit of grey. It's quite noticeable on the side there, so I'm just going to put another drop in this one. Just bring that up to scratch with the rest. There it is, that's better. That was bothering me. Now, all of these are looking very, very similar. That's the second one I did. That's the first one I did. And I don't know if they look different to you, but they look very, very different to me. I hate shutters to stuff. You gotta take the hit. You gotta do the detail. Okay. I'm literally just using up the last of the paint in patches where it looks like it could do with a bit more. And there we go, that's it. Right, bear with me a second while I get the airbrush cleaned out. And that's them all grayed before the intermission. Still 15 minutes to go roughly before the intermission, so that's always nice. Kez says, I did not use the saw, but I put a knife in the gaps and slowly pulled the layer apart. Not the cleanest way, but it did work. Good, oh nice, I'm glad you were able to sort it out. Do you reckon you'd be able to clean it up and make it look nice and clean like it was never there? Or almost as good as? Or is it quite a rough job? Super nice building as well. Really, really good. In fact, actually, if you feel inclined to do so, it'll be really nice if you could share the file destination, because obviously they're 3D prints. You bought them from somewhere or acquired free prints, etc. Yeah, it'd be really nice if you could share where you got those so that other people might be able to do the same. And also we got a connection with 3D Gizmo, which is another Facebook page. We met them at one of the model shows that we've been to as the ET8 community. Made a great set of connections over there, and the 3D printing community would love to see that sort of stuff if you're inclined to do so. Right, that's that cleaned out. So, where are we at? Let's just pop that paint there for a second. so much stuff here then. So, as we spoke about last week, I've got single tracks that separate off into junctions, that go off into wider connections, that go into 2 rails. Really exciting, really, really exciting. I'm fairly certain that Ironclad Miniatures, who make and provided me with these, do corners or longer curved sections, but I had enough here to kind of fill my boots with 3. I've had them since May, so time I did something with them right. So if I bought more stuff, we just had more stuff building up. Another reason to have a really simple paint scheme is that if I buy more and come to do them, it's really easy to replicate and match them in, which is something that Jeff will be able to talk to you about at length. When you make a build for a customer, like Jeff does through Purple Lion Creations, shameless plug, is when they ask for more things and you've already you dispatched that building like 2 years ago and they want more, you have to ask them to supply you with a copy, or you have to get them to send it back or a piece of it back so that you can match the colours in, or take the risk, which is very likely that they're not going to look the same. So yeah, things to think about, right? So if I keep my paint scheme really, really simple, chances are that it'll be easy for me to replicate and match them if I buy more. Kez says, maybe some of the gaps will be hard to fill, but I'll do my best. If you are interested, there are lots of different sorts of fillers out there that you can get. Of course, you could just fill it with paint or super glue. Super glue is a really good filler, but plastic putty exists. This is very much like liquid green stuff, but it's a lot easier to work with, and the idea of this isn't for sculpting, it is for filling in gaps. So the idea is if you have like a mould seam, you know when you're fitting like a Games Workshop piece together, and there's a seam where they fit and it stands out and you don't want it to stand out, you would literally smush some of this out, smear it in with a paintbrush, maybe your finger, a silicone sculpting brush or whatever, and just fill that gap. And it's water soluble, and it's really easy to sand. It is a little difficult to work with, but it can be very good for filling really fine to even large areas. Not the best bulk filler, but very good for doing seams and exactly what you're looking for. That's just one of those things out there. That's a Vallejo one, by the way. If you wanted to have a lend of this, then you're more than welcome to. Some food for thought for you. Right, let's do one before the intermission. So, here is my very dirty... some people are calling it very dirty, but it's not dirty. It's just well used and it's got lots of reference. My palette here on the side. I'm going to have some Basilicanum Grey. Why am I struggling with that word? I say that all the time. I'm excited, so I stammer. Gonna give it a good shake. And of course I'm going to give it a whiz on the Wazomatic. Now, to make sure that I get consistency through my ratios when I'm mixing this with water, is I use a little dropper. You can buy little pipettes from Amazon in bulk for next to nothing, and if you're doing things like mixing colours, mixing paints, mixing water and things like that, and you want consistency, look no further, get them. They're really, really good. And I've got lots of ones. Wazomatic. Here we go. So just pipette, you can see that I've used it for... This is the one I was using on the Stormvine, and so I was taking the colour out of the Games Workshop pot, dropping in a couple of things, and I was adding a water to it. Actually, still a little bit of paint in that one, so that actually is not a good one to use. I have cleaned them. There was just a little bit of medium left in there. And now my very clean paint water is now very, very dirty. Right, let's get another pipette. That's why it's good to have a few of them, so you can have clean ones. You may be struggling with words due to excessive vodka. Not excessive, it's just the first large double. Look at that. Oh, paint medium all over the place now. Cheers. It was a drink to my colleague Maddie. I'm going to miss her so much. She was my best friend at work. Such a lovely person. We did such a wonderful job together. We made the working environment one of peace and love, and I know that sounds really hippie, but in 2023, you should be able to have a working environment that you enjoy and love your colleagues, and it's exactly what we've done. So yeah, really, really sad to see her go, but she's going to be going on to other things where she'll be bringing her, her wonders and her magic to somewhere else. Good luck to her. So 5 drops of that paint. Put the rest back in the pot. What I do is I give it a quick rinse out just by sucking out some water and just sploosh it back out in the pot. And then put some water up and then just put in equal amounts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Lush. Getting my little mixie brush. We've always got a dead brush somewhere, haven't we? Oh, it actually needs a clean. Hardly any bristles to it. Just break the back of that a little bit. There we go. Okay, that needs a clean. I can't use that. I will tentatively use my army painter brush. I don't use it an awful lot, but that's not the point. It's a good quality brush. Okay, mixed and cleaned. So I'm gonna get a big brush. I've got a couple of big brushes here. This one here I call my tank brush, and it's gone hard, but I don't know why it's gone hard because I washed it out the other day. I think it might have a spirit in it or something. Now, in a lot of my brushes, I do put gel hardener or like a repair gel in them to maintain the tip. But I don't think I've put it in this one because it's such a large belly brush. I do have a couple that are very similar, so I'll come back to that one. I'll put him there in my queue to be washed. Here's another big brush, flat brush. That one's the same. Clearly, I've done something to my brushes, haven't I? Okay, that's got the suppleness back. Now I could use my Vallejo brush, not my Vallejo brushes, my Kolinsky brushes, but they're not ready for this sort of thing, are they? Come on, behave. Yeah, basically I've got some brushes to clean. Pick up an amount of all of that, and then just, you know, get slap happy. I just made that up. Splat happy. That's a good one. Jeff says, by the way, Sarissa do 15mm trains and wagons, etc. Don't know if they would fit your track, but it would be nice to fight in and around in water tanker. You're absolutely right. Yes, absolutely I should. And there's Adrian calling out the experience of Mr. Gauzy. Yeah, vodka is my sword of choice. Sorry, gents. So I think I could even do with a little bit more water in there. Yeah, that's a little bit better, isn't it? The reason I like Basilicanum Grey over Nuln Oil is it's, well, for a start, is even though Nuln Oil has improved, its behaviour as a liquid is erratic, and it's still a tough one to get in line. But also sometimes its contrast is so stark, it doesn't quite have that effect I'm looking for. Basilicanum Grey has the depth of the black wash that I'm looking for, but because it's a grey and not a black, the contrast is often softer, and it just really works on steel. It's absolutely fantastic for it. It works as a really good filter and as a wash. Already I can see it doing wonders there. However, I'm going through it fast, so I'm going to need to have my pipette on standby. The pot, I'm just going to keep it open, and I'm just going to have to do this regularly, I think. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do 10, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Water. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I stuck in another one for good measure a minute ago. Okay. Do you know what? I'm just going to use this brush to mix it all in together with. Here we go. Hope you guys are all getting on really well with your projects this evening. Do let me know what's happening. If you want to paint something this evening, I genuinely would love to know about it. I'm not saying that just to generate the interactions with the community. I would like to know. This show is all about company, it's all about motivation, and hopefully inspiration. And I do get inspired by seeing all of you and your guys' work, so do tell me all about it. Take some photographs, stick it over on Facebook, stick them up over on Discord, where you can join me at the end of the show if you want to, on a video chat, or just on microphone, or just on keyboard if you want. And you can talk to me live after the show, discuss any problems you're having, maybe you want to celebrate something, or just catch up. You know, say hi. Sometimes it's very quiet, other times it's heaving. Now, I'm not really worried about this not staining the sleepers or the rails, because this is just a gravel colour. But it is nice to try and get it to fit all the details in so you can see it as you're going along. But one of those things I'm trying to, I'm just trying to not be precious about things sometimes. If it doesn't do it the way I want it to, and I don't need it to, don't hang about. There's no point, right? As I'm using the brush, it's kind of agitating the paint a little bit, and I'm getting a few bubbles, which is making it a little bit more difficult to get into some of those little corners. And I guarantee you, if I miss even the tiniest little bit, because it won't have that filter colour on it, it will stand out like a sore thumb. So it is really important to be patient, wait for those bubbles to pop, which they do, because I've added water, so the surface tension of the paint is drastically reduced. Takes away that contrasting property, which basically forms a quick drying skin, which is why the bubbles are in there, and they pop quicker with water. So you've got to be patient sometimes. And that is looking really good. That is cool. Good for me. Oh, there we go. Look. Pretty much time for a break, isn't it? Excuse me. Just flick that brush everywhere, why don't you? Connoisseurs will notice at this time that the little mini workbench camera this week is the right way up. I changed it just before we went live. Every now and again I make little alterations to the streaming software, and sometimes I like bring a new camera screen in, and sometimes I forget to set it up properly because I'm stupid. Yeah, we're doing really well here. We are moving on quick, and that's what we want. So basically, I have painted up today 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces of rail, and they are all needing to be washed. I have a number 7 over here that has already started the dry brush process. I'm going to leave him until last. What I want to do is dry brush these after I've washed them all. Got the airbrush to help dry that. Hopefully we can get that far quick enough. It is cold in here, that is going to affect that. Get them to the point where we start dry brushing them, then see if this piece that's already been dry brushed matches in. See if it looks the same as the rest of them. And if it does, then that's fine. If not, then I know that I include that in the pieces yet to be painted, if that makes sense. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'll leave it for a moment. Going to nip off for a quick 10-minute break so I can go get myself a refreshment. Going to go get myself another adult juice. So you can do the same if you want to. Whatever it is that you do, whether you go stretch your legs, refocus your eyes, go and catch the fresh air, you should definitely change your paint water. See you in 10. Bye-bye. Welcome back. I tried my best to time that with the music. It was just random chance, and I think it worked. It's okay. It's just a track that plays in the background, and sometimes it works. I hope you had a good break. I went and got myself a fresh one. Cheers. Happy weekend. So, it's going well. You know exactly where we're at. All I gotta do is just keep on washing this down, having to keep on making a mix of basilicum grey and water to get that gravel stained. That's it. If you're working on something this evening, I would genuinely love to know about it. So if you want to come along and join in the live chat, if you're watching live, that is, you can join in with these crazy guys over here. Tell us all about the builds that you're painting this evening. I would genuinely be interested in knowing. You can stick photos up of it on Facebook. I'm gonna trip over my words again. I'm getting very excited. That's all. It's just going well. You can stick your photos up on Facebook if you want, because we're over there as well. We're also on Instagram, and you can also catch me after the show, or any show, at the After 8... Nah, I ruined it. At the the Easy 8 after parties, because of After 8s, you know, the mints. That's why I get that confused. The Easy 8 after party. There's a Discord channel. You can come and join us there as well if you want. All of the platforms that we're on, there's links just down there in the description, and it probably does a much better job of telling you what's going on than I ever will. So yeah, go check those out. Down there, there's also a load of links to people who I, watch on YouTube, support across the internet, enjoy the products that these people make, whatever. There's people like Colin from Charlie Foxtrot Models, who makes some of the best 20mm and 28mm laser cut MDF terrain and buildings that you'll ever see. There's of course my dad Jeff, who makes from scratch bespoke orders for buildings, terrain, etc. I'm not just saying it because it's my old man, but unparalleled quality, sought after the world over, as you can tell, because he's just been talking about a build that he's making for Australia. There's also 3D Gizmo, which is a Facebook group for 3D printers. Man, there's loads of stuff out there. Someone who I haven't mentioned an awful lot recently, and I'd love to get back to talking to, is Blightforge Painting Studios. Just a dude basically who paints up really good models, and you can order stuff through him because he's absolutely amazing. You should definitely go and check that out. So yeah, that's everything I think I needed to say before I forget and trip over my own words. What I have just found, I forgot that I had, as you can probably see right here, is a little turntable that's making painting really easy. I totally wish I remembered I had this a little while ago. So let's get straight back on over to the workbench, yeah? Before we do, if you like what we do, please subscribe. Such a simple gesture from yourself means the world to me. So if you do enjoy it, or think you might know someone who would enjoy it, please subscribe or get them to subscribe. And thumbs up the video if you like it too, because it helps the algorithm, which I know nothing about, but apparently it helps. Anyway, to the workbench. So yeah, I've got a turntable. Just forgot I had it, alright? Put my paint here, I can bring this here, and I can turn it around or whatever. It's kind of cool, right? These are a little bit light, so they do move around a little bit on here, but it does mean that I can move it around and without having to, use paper or whatever. Yeah, whatevs. Now I am going through my basilicum grey. I'm struggling to say things today. I am going through it quite quickly. That's to be expected, right? So what I'm going to have to be aware of is that I might use it all up doing this project. So I'm definitely at some point, and I think I am going to be going past the Games Workshop, but I think I need to take a little stop and go and get some paint. The thing with basilicum grey is it is a contrast paint, which is the new sorts of miniature paints that are coming out nowadays. You've obviously got the Army Painter Speed Paint range. Vallejo have just released, or recently released, their version of it as well. So it's not like I could just get like a dark grey, water it down. It is a very specific paint in a very specific medium. It has a very specific set of properties and qualities. So, just mixing up a dark grey wash won't butter the parsnips. So, I love parsnips. So yeah, I should probably make sure that I've always got a pot of this on the go, because it's such a good filter for all those colours. I've yet to try it out on every colour. But do you know what? It was when I was doing the October project with John. It was such a lifesaver in just muting down colours. What I mean by that is that the suit was black, the metal suit was black, and there's not an awful lot you can do to, you know, to shade that, to render it, to show up the, you know, the angles if you want, the details on it without dry brushing other colours. I used a contrast black over it, so the undercoats shone through and did a lot of that work for me, and I hid it with grime anyway, so it was fine. But when I started painting designs over the top, like the black and white checkers on a black suit, I freehanded them as well, which I was really proud about, because I've not done any freehand before, and they came out really well. Because they were stark white against jet black, the contrast was just so, they really stood out, and it made them look fake, is the only way I can really think to describe it. It didn't look right, they stood out too much, so I just got a 50-50 water and grey mix here, and just applied it to the top. And because that dark grey is so close to the black, it just softened down the white, made them look a little bit weathered, frankly, and blended it into the background because the grey mixed with the black as well. So without it being an obvious blend, they blended and did a lot of hard work for me. The silicone and grey, man, I'm telling you, you need to get some. It needs to be in your tool set. Right. So I'm literally just trying to keep going. Now, what I did notice during the intermission is that as I'm painting this on, because these rail sections, they are sort of beveled. If I show you from a cross section, you can see that they kind of bevel off to the edges, because train tracks are designed to be on a big lump of gravel, and that sort of smooths out on the sides. The paint is running, because it's so watery, is running down the bottom and collecting heavily in the bottom third of this section, and it's a bit lighter up here, while still maintaining the quality that I'm looking for here, which is running in between all these little individual stones, picking out all those details. But it just makes the bottom end look darker, which makes them look dirtier. It's just a nice little thing. I don't know if that's realistic or not, but I don't care. It's a free thing, and I'm going to use it. Before we went for a break, or during the break, I think Jeff said, if you're going to start or keep doing terrain, you might want to start buying house paint and tester pots. It gets expensive else. Yes, you're absolutely right. Do you know, if I don't do an awful lot of terrain building, and I think I should do more. I'm a war gamer, so I've often got miniatures to paint, and the whole point of the show is to get through the mountains of backlog that we've all got. I've got hordes of it. You just can't see it on the camera. It's there, trust me. So I don't tend to get myself into new projects all that often. This is one, but it would be nice to start doing some other bits and pieces like that. I work hard outside of here, and it is hard to make more content for this show other than what I do. I have done a few product reviews in the past. People have wanted more of that. They are by far my most searched videos. But I'm a painting club. I bring people together to paint their stuff. So I've got to be careful about how I manage that. But yes, I would absolutely love to do more terrain. I would love to do specifically Northern Europe 28mm stuff. I don't play World War II or any historic games, war games, in that scale. And I would love to, but it's a matter of the money and the time it takes to kind of put all that together. And then frankly, the storage. Just because I've got a YouTube show doesn't mean I'm suddenly, I've got a magical, storage facility or, whatever. It's just, I just don't have that space. And for every game that you have, it has a genre, it has a theme. You have to have yet you have to have the terrain, the scenery, the tabletop for it. And if they're not matching the themes, then you're going to start acquiring a lot of stuff very, very quickly. And I'm not a bachelor, you know, so I've got to be really considerate about that. Not entirely sure if I added water to that mix. I was talking too much there. Kez says, I prefer to mix Basilicanum Grey with contrast medium 50-50. Interesting. I haven't added water to that, have I? Yeah, that's better. Sometimes I can just talk the butt off the world. Yeah, now I'm interested to see the differences. I think that the difference would be a stronger filter. The reason I do water is because I saw it on like a Games Workshop painting tutorial on YouTube. I can't remember. I think it was either Peachy or Duncan Rhodes. It was one of the two, and I can't remember which one it was. And they mixed it then with water. The idea was to break the surface tension a little bit, so that they got a little less stronger colour. But because it's a contrast paint, it still has that quick drying surface tension. If you add contrast medium, you're keeping a lot more of that tension. You're not breaking it down so much, so you'll probably get stronger colour, uniformity of filter. And I've grown quite accustomed to... why am I moving it around on here? I've grown quite accustomed to the properties of the ratios that I use, but it would be interesting on another build to see if it's better or not. Now that I've done it on this one, of course I'm going to stay consistent to what I've done here, but where I use it quite a lot is on my Adeptus Mechanicus, the Martians, the Skitari, because they're like silver suits, metal suits. It would be quite interesting to see how it works on that. What do you use your Basilicanum Grey filters for, Kez? Do you use it on pretty much everything, or have you got a specific thing that you use it for? Like I was saying earlier, like it's a filter that works on most colours that I've used. I haven't used it on yellows and things like that at the moment, but I've used it on blues, on greens, blacks, which you would find quite bizarre, white. But there's a few that I haven't used it on, like purple and yellow, for example. So if you wanted something that would like a uniformity, like a unifying filter, really soft, just add more medium, be it water or, like Kez was saying, contrast medium. If you want that as a softer filter, if you want it as a starker filter, just add it on neat. But it just brings everything together, blends everything, and softens down the contrast between the two colours or the multiple colours that you're painting with. Yeah, like it's... it shouldn't even be called Basilicanum Grey in my workbench. It should just be called Danny's Unifying Cocktail. That's an idea. Maybe I'll just ready mix it and I'll just have it in a pot, labelled thusly. Everybody else has got their special sauce, haven't they? Yes, I'm allowed to say special sauce before the crude people out there get on board with that one. There is a YouTube channel, a pro painter who paints things. You can go along and watch him. I think he twitches. He's also on YouTube. He's called The Sauce. He is very, very talented, and he has his own mixtures of things like thinners and things like that. And he doesn't actually use airbrush thinner. He uses Flow Improver as his thinner, because of the properties that has. So yeah, and he mixes, like a lot of people do, like a lot of pros do, mix their own products together to create their own particular cocktail that works for them, and he calls his sauce because that's the name of his show. Well, at least he did in that one video that I saw that in. feel like I should probably get a disclaimer out there that he doesn't say that for every single one, in case he doesn't. Oh, right. I still got 2 more to go after this, but I do want to get on a dry brush at least one of these today. So I'm just trying to keep an eye on the time and my progress. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Making sure I clean my pipettes as I go so that I can use them for future colours. And it just takes a couple of pulses. I say pulses, you know, when you squish the pipettes, and you just make sure that you keep them clean, otherwise they just get all gummy, and then you have to have one for every colour. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1 for luck. There we go. Mix those together. And you can see the difference between this and the Milne Oil one that I did earlier on. I know the base colour was a different colour, but it was very, very dark. And I didn't want it that dark. The smaller scale you go, the brighter your paint scheme should be. I'm saying should. I mean, obviously it's personal style. But the smaller it gets, the lighter your paint should be, because basically if it's darker, the details get lost. So if you buy your paints from AK Interactive, as an example, they've actually accounted for the decrease from a 1:1 scale vehicle or artifact down to the scales that you're commonly painting at, 28mm, 1/35mm, 1/35 scale. Sorry, they've actually considered that in the recipes of their paints, so that they are actually brighter by the step of degrees. You know what I'm trying to say? Which I think is fascinating. I mean, it's very, very nerdy, but I think that's fascinating. Dedication to the cause there, right? Stafford says, "Ooh, just checked eBay for 15mm trains. Do tell, and I wonder if they fit on this. They should do. I want them to." Now I'm questioning myself. Did John at Ironclad Miniatures actually say that 15mm trains do fit on this? I might have just dreamt that, or I might be making that memory up. I do that a lot. Just comparing this one to another one, just to make sure that the contrast is the same. I don't want them to be darker or lighter than others by too much. Otherwise you're going to get 6 inches of contrast, 6 inches of contrast. And while they're all going to be slightly different, you try and keep it the same as much as possible, right? Sarissa will also do a station for £12. Okay, looks like I'm going to be going onto Sarissa's website after the show. You can come and join me if you want to, and we can have a little look over at Sarissa's website together after tonight's show on the EZA after party. Got it this time on Discord. There is a link just downstairs for that platform. Go and check it out, please. My goodness, I'm really going through this quite quickly. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm just going to do 10 now, because I'm aware that I'm kind of running out of time at the moment. Dirty pipette. Clean pipette. past. Okay. We've got time. We've got time. It's quite a bit brighter than the other one. Alright, let's just slap a bit more on there. Gonna be quite haphazard with it as well. Random. Yeah, whatever. There's so much you can do, right? Might need another coat, that's all. Missed a couple of comments here. Adrian says, "Ciao for now, my peeps. A certain pup of mine needs his evening stroll. See you all soon." Oh, well, if you're watching this on the replay, Adrian, sorry I missed you. Thanks for coming along. Hope you have a lovely evening and be safe while walking the dog because the weather out there is gnarly. Gnarly. Kez says, I use it on models I don't dry brush the colours on, so mainly my Battletechs at the moment. Battlemechs. Battletechs, you know what I'm talking about. Just read the words, Danny, crikey. That's cool, that's good. It's yeah. Easy 8, unifying cocktail. I like the way that sounds, just saying. I need more already. Ugh, how much have I got of this stuff left? About a quarter of the pot. Going through this very quickly, I'm going to need to buy some more. I'm actually popping out tomorrow with my partner for a drive. So I think we should probably take a stop at Games Workshop. There's one on the way. Yeah, I'm just gonna chuck it in. Danny bored now. Consistency and science out the window. Well, a paint. There is a therapeutic nature to this, though, isn't there? Just being so rough with the painting, who cares? Right, well, one more to do. One more. They're all looking really cool. I like the way they look. Okay, here we go. Hopefully this will be the last bit that I use. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And a spooge at the end. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. One for luck. I'm doing it again. Use the turntable, Danny. So used to actually spinning the model around so much, which is why I bought it. It's just easier to turn, especially if you've got big, like 1/35th build going on or something, you know. Also, you don't want to handle the model so much. Okay. Lush. Make sure I've got enough space to put this down. Got a little bit left there, so I'm just going to make sure that everything I need on it is done properly. Just use up the last of that. Danny's special cocktail. I like that. It's gonna have to stick. Wash that brush out. Okay, that was good. That was productive. That was like half of the tracks sections that I've got here done, roughly half. Let's clean up that pipette. Lovely. Let's put the silicone grey away. That's yeah, I don't have a lot left in there. Okay, cool. Right, do you know what? I'm gonna have a quick clear of the old palette because, yikes. A lot of work done there. How are your projects coming on today? Would generally love to know. Do put a picture up on Facebook or on Discord. Come and have a chat about it in the live chat. How are you getting on today? Are you still working on the same projects, or are you retired for the evening? Are you having some problems? Or are you winning? Come and celebrate, man. That's what it's all about, yeah? Doing a lot of head bobbing today. Just it's nice to be in the warm. I say the warm, it's still freezing in here. Jeff says, maths question for today is, if Danny takes 2 minutes to paint one sleeper, how long will it take him to finish the project? That is a really good maths problem that I don't think I need to know the answer to. I forget how many sleepers there were, but I think it's close to 340. So if it's 2 minutes for each of those, it's 680 minutes, which is too many hours. That's nearly 11 hours. I've got to paint them faster. Each sleeper can't take me 2 minutes to paint. 4 years. I hate shutters and tracks. Yeah, I know. Right, okay, let's talk about dry brushing. So here's the first piece that I stained. Here's the other piece that I started dry brushing the other week. Let's, you can see that it's quite close, right? Prefer the contrast on this, to be fair. But the whole point of dry brushing is that we pick up the edges. Don't think about it. It's still wet. So I need to hit this with a hairdryer. I cannot dry brush at all. If one tiny patch is wet, it'll mix, spread, and ruin it. So, gonna hit the hairdryer. Not hit the hairdryer, you know what I mean. Back in a minute. It was all going well until I threw it on the floor. But yeah, trying to be very careful with the hairdryer as well. These are quite fine and small, delicate resin pieces that I'm fairly certain would warp if I applied too much direct heat to them. There is one little patch in here which is still wet. I'm just going to come in with the airbrush because I can get in there quite direct and less likely to burn it. But what I can see is that the appearance is very close to what I've got here. It is different, so I may need to go back and do that section. I was going to go, oh, do you know what? I'll just dry brush this a bit more today. But there is a difference in how the silicanum grey is working, so I'm going to have to repaint it. I have to, but not tonight. That's a during the week project. Okay, let's turn the compressor off. Let's hope that's enough dry brushing. Sorry, enough drying for the dry brushing. Let's give the dry brushes a quick try. So, thanks Jeff. Thanks Dad. It feels weird calling you Jeff. Well, I'm thanking you anyway. That's a really big brush. Is it too big for this project? I don't know. The medium. And then I've got a little small one in there as well. Come on now. And these are Crawford and Blacks. If you're in the UK, you can pick these up from the works. Crawford and Blacks are a they're not a poor man's brush at all. They're just they're budget stuff for sure, but they are still reasonably good quality. They make really good paints as well in really big tubes. And I know that Jeff actually buys a lot of that stuff because it comes in such large quantities for such an affordable price. These aren't going to fit in my paint slots. Anyway, let's. I think if I went for the medium one, that's a good place to start, right? Mike says I'm currently trying to come up with 20 Gretchen Commando themed bases in a true cheeky grunt sort of way. Can you elaborate a little bit on that, and maybe we get the help from the community? Interesting project. I like it. I do like hearing about your projects. Do let me know if you are working on one today. Let's get rid of the turntable. The magical turntable. Don't know why I called it a magical one. Right. I'm gonna need some grey paint, and I forgot what colours I was using to highlight them with. I think I'm just going to go straight in for a light grey. I don't want to bother with several grades of dry brushing. I I've got a base grey, I've got a very dark grey wash with a black primer. Let's go straight for the light grey. Yeah? That is very light still though, isn't it? What to do? White will be too much, for sure. Oops, this is the lightest grey that I've got in Citadel because I use these on my Tyranids, and you can see the grades of grey that I go through. Dark, middle, light. And the Stonewall grey that I use is very, very similar, if not a little lighter than my lightest grey here. So, I should probably do another layer of this, right? Because it's the brightest thing that I've got over the top. Now I never use it as a base, but it's what I should use. And then if I wanted to do a quick light dry brush, a second dry brush over top of everything, mix this 50-50 with white, perhaps? What do you guys think? However, this is an airbrush paint, and I do dry brush sometimes with these, but I think, thank you Mark, you know who you are, gave me the same range in normal brushing paint. Got it. Exactly the same colour, but thick. Of course, this is going to need a really, really good Waz. It's that time. Now, there's a part of me thinking, look, why didn't I do a darker grey base to start with? But that unifying wash over the top has done that. It's darkened it down and created variations. You can see it right there. There's some darker patches, lighter patches, darker patches. And I really like that. And at the same time, it's created a filter. And that's why we use filters. So it means I can use the same colour to dry brush. Now I don't want to be heavy with that dry brush. I don't want to get the dry brush colour deep into the details, you know. I want them to be on the surface. Right, I'm actually going to put this in a separate thing here because it's just wider than those pots and I can get this brush in there. Just make sure it's clean because it doesn't look very clean. It is not. Let's give that a wipe out. That's better. Okay. As you can see, that's not running anywhere, as where the other one would do. Kindly donated to Easy8 by Mark. Very much appreciate that. Now I should add a tiny bit of moisture into the brush to help to stop it from looking chalky, but I don't really mind it looking chalky on this. It's too small to worry about that. The details are too small, and frankly, it's gravel, it's chalky. This is one of those places where it probably would help. But also, I don't want to introduce any moisture into the dry brushing because I've just spent ages getting rid of it. A couple of rogue bristles there, let's get rid of those. Now, one of the things you shouldn't do is, you know, wipe your brush for dry brushing off on a piece of paper, saps all the moisture out of it. Quite a few rogue bristles here, I'll get rid of those. Budget paintbrushes. But it's all good. I don't have a texture palette, so we have to make do with what we got. Okay, here we go. Moment of truth. I'm trying to keep it super simple. I think that's rather effective. I wonder if you can see what that's done. I think that's actually really quite good. And I can come in with a really light colour later on to do a quick surface touch. And it might even be like Adrian was saying, like a quick brown wash over the top of it all will really help. I think he's absolutely right. I'm really shedding the bristles here. Loads of them all over the place. I'm sure that'll stop eventually. Making sure that I'm using the real edges of the bristles there. Making sure that the bristles don't penetrate deep into those cracks, which is very easy at the scale. Thanks very much for the brushes, Dad. Would be tempted when you paint the sleepers to just go just to rough paint the tops with a mid brown and dry brush. Then if you stain around them with a darker brown, should stain hide the sides of them. That's a great idea, and do you know what, I don't think I can think of another way of doing it. That's a great way of doing it. Mike says one base is a giant bush. I've still got Waz on there. One base is a giant bush with the commando peeking out. We've got a Mario style upended pipe with one climbing out, made a kind of camo net tent so far. That's a great idea. Would love to see photos on that, please. Do you know, every night I come down, my partner goes, "You painted your hand again." I'm like, yeah, I'm really sorry. She doesn't get it. Right, I've actually kept quite a bit of paint on there this time. I'm just going to very, very light. Oh, that's effective. Yeah, that's good. The good thing about this, actually, the shape of the brush gets right in between those sleepers in there if I need it to. I can just run it along, right along the edge there. If I feel that it needs to get in between them, I can just kind of just nip in between. That's really good. So many little bristles there that it's starting to slow down, but that is quite funny. And that's why I use expensive brushes for my other stuff. Yeah. That keeps it nice and simple. Now, I do like the idea of putting a dark brown wash, not a dark brown, a brown wash over it. Really, really thin, just to kind of dirty things down. And that could be something for much, much later on. I'll see how it all goes first. The thing is if I do a brown wash, of course, if it goes wrong, it ruins it, and I've got to do the whole thing all over again. So what I'll do is I'll get the whole lot up to a finished point where I'll be happy with, and then I'll get one and I'll test it out, and if I need to just replace one, then I can, you know. But so far, that's what we're looking like. I really like that. Really, really effective. Really effective. Thanks for the brushes, really appreciate that. Yeah, just read back what you said there again. Would be tempted when you paint the sleepers to just rough paint the tops with a mid-brown and dry brush. And if you stain around them with a darker brown, it should stain and hide the edges of them. Yes. It's exactly what I should do, isn't it? But what colour to paint the sleepers? Pray tell. So, I've got a selection of browns, right? And it's about what colour we want to use. So, if I just give them a quick shake. Here's my charred brown, my go-to brown for most things. It's a really dark brown. I don't think this should be the colour. That's too dark. I've got an earth brown, which could be good. This is earth, isn't it? Yeah, earth. Especially when you consider if I put a stain over the top of it, that could work quite well. I've got a leather one, and I don't really rate the leather colour very much. This one appears in a lot of sort of fantasy painting colours. It's kind of got this weird sort of sickly yellowness to it. I'm not really into it. I don't think that's where I want to be. The problem with the earth brown, it's a little too generic. It's a little too child at play school painting the ground, you know. It has its place, but it's not. I've gone a long way away from using it. However, with stains over the top, giving it a filter might be the best thing to do. Here's a beastie brown. It's got an element of orange to it, ever so slightly, maybe slightly more to the red tones. I think that's the wrong colour to use. Got a terracotta. Obviously, that's the wrong colour to use. It's a nice colour though. Khaki. You might not think that it's a brown colour. I put it with my browns. So no. It's the wrong colour, isn't it? But it's the colour that I think kind of connects browns to greys and even white, but it is the wrong colour. I think that it should be earth and then stained with Agrax Earthshade. Now what I'll do, I'll just paint a couple quickly now before the end of the show you now, and like I always do, I'll take a photo of it, I'll put it on the Facebook page for Easy 8, you know, where I do the listing, and I'll show you, and hopefully you like it. So let me just get a little dollop in here. You can tell me whether you like it or not. Because, you know, like seeing it on a photograph, I think is just a little bit better than me showing it here. A little bit easier. I'll just get... Do you know, I often use the airbrush paints as a brush paint because they're really thin, and we always say, don't we, because Duncan Rhodes said it, thin your paints, but they're just a little bit too thin for it, and I can never get a fine point on it, and it's taken me a long time to realise that's why. Since I've been donated the regular brush paints of the same type, I've realised the difference. And I do have this in a brush paint, so it will be easier for me. Now there is a lot of detail in these sleepers in terms of the wood grain, and I'm really keen to keep that. I don't want to paint that out at all. So while this paint here might be too thin, if I was to use the brush paint, I don't want to get it... I want to thin it down, but not to as much as this. I don't want it to be thick enough that I lose the detail when I'm painting. I'll just paint a couple here. Now I would be faster at this if the paint were actually thicker, and that's the difference, isn't it? It's because this is too watery to bind my bristles together to keep me with a really pointy tip to the brush, and that is going to be key to fast painting on all 340 or whatever that stupid number is. And what's more is you guys are going to be along for the journey. So there's that colour. Come on, get into focus. It's a good colour, isn't it, I think? I've never been good at painting natural wood colours of whatever type of wood. And that's the problem as well, so I don't really know very many different types of woods or their colours, etc. And I know that these would be whatever wood they would have used, but they would have been like dirty and dark and maybe even painted when they were actually like made, before they were laid down. So yeah, what wood would they have been? Probably oak, right? And what I also need to keep this bit speedy is opacity. And because this paint is a little thinner, I lose the opacity. Now if I was doing a single figure, great, I want that. I want to be able to do it in 2-3 coats, but actually I want to keep it thin. And frankly, I need to keep the colour intensity with opacity. I need to find that magic medium and then stain it. That rain is back again, man. What do we think about the colour? Good colour? I like it. I'm just going to hit it with a hairdryer and then give it a quick wash with Agrax Earthshade. Back again. I like it. It's good. It works. There's my Agrax. There it is. Okay, nice and gently now. Don't want to go bonkers with it. And again, I'm taking my time right now, but when I get faster at it, this will be a piece of cake. I might even need to water that down a little bit. It's quite sticky. It's quite clingy. Okay, I'm going to leave that other one unstained so you can see the difference between the two. Let me just hit that with a hairdryer one more time. My mic is off. It's because I was using the hairdryer. It looks good, doesn't it? What a numpty. Yeah, cannot hear you. Yeah, sorry about that. All I was saying is I think that looks really good. I've got a good recipe. I'm so sorry. That's so embarrassing. I've got a good recipe. I'm fairly certain I can keep that fast. I will put a matte varnish down over the top so that shininess on that stain will disappear. It's looking really good. I've got people sending me messages going, your mic's off. It's all good. I've got lights here, man. If I don't work it out, shame on me. Yeah, I think I've shown that I can, in a couple of hours, I can get everything primed, I can get everything based, I can get everything washed. What I was saying is that I need to buy a little bit more of this grey. I might even buy a couple of pots because I'm going through it really fast. It seems to be a really good, like essential, really, tool for my toolbox. That's what I was saying before you realised my mic was off. Yeah, it's indispensable, frankly. So I think I'm gonna try and take a little stop in town at Games Workshop, pick up a couple of pots of that, and I also need to find a replacement for my Dawnstone Grey because that's nearly ran out and gone manky at the bottom. So yeah, I said I was going to get rid of this track a couple of weeks ago. So I need to work out which one it is, because it's just rubbish, isn't it? Look, I hope you've had a great night. Thank you for keeping me company. We've had a great viewer number today, so if you are new, at least the Microsoft Pensions will show, we'll pay attention. Thanks. Yeah, we've had a great viewing number today, which means more people are coming along. So if you are new, please do consider subscribing to the show. Do it if you're genuinely interested. If you don't, it's not for you. That's also fine. But every single subscription goes a really, really long way to making this community bigger and better. And it's all about you guys. That's what we're here for. This show is about bringing everyone together, having a space to kind of motivate and to get people painting, and to keep you all companied. That's the right word. And you guys inspire me. Hopefully I inspire you too. So spread the word, get it known out there, share it at work, tell a friend, tell a random person, be safe. And yeah, that's probably enough from me this evening. I've had a really exciting night. It's been fun. And yeah, until next week, I won't be here on Friday. I'll be here on Saturday. I'm being sent away for a training course. 2 of them back to back. So I'm not going to be here on Friday. I will make sure that a listing goes out, and it will be on the Saturday evening at the same time, 7 to 9 next Saturday, and maybe I'll see some of you there. In the meantime, please stay safe, be kind, and keep on painting, and I'll see you next time. Take care now. Bye-bye. That one was for you, Maddie. Take care, mate. Bye-bye.